Introduction to Anatomy and Paradigmatic Drawing. The Aquatic Ape. The aquatic theory of evolution, proposed by Alistair Hardy and popularized by Elaine Morgan, puts early human development in the water. You can still see this in humans, whose legs are more developed than that of other apes, and by comparison have smaller chests and more subcutaneous fat. Humans are their most graceful in the water. You only have to look at a baby swimming to see the resemblance to a fat, happy dugong or seal. I like to think of the human paradigm as a 12-year-old. After that age, the anatomy is obscured by sexual development. Yet in all humans, no matter what size, the long body and smooth, fatty skin is very clear. Even in muscle builders, the traits of aquatic past are there to see. The height paradigm. According to the Greeks in classical drawing, the ideal human is 7.5 heads tall. In this drawing, you can see that the legs are 4 heads. The chest is almost 3 heads tall. However, most people do not fit in this paradigm. In this picture, the actor on the left fits the paradigm at 7.5 heads. The actor in the middle is almost 7 heads, and the actor on the right is 8 heads tall. Among athletes, this is also clear, with ranges from 6 heads to 8. Often very short people are 6 to 7 heads tall, and very tall people 7 to 8 heads tall. Here are 2 models. The woman on the left is 7.5 heads tall. The woman on the right is 8 heads tall. But where is most of the height difference? In this photo, you can see it is in the legs. Most taller women have longer legs, which is one of the reasons heels on shoes are very popular. However, in men, the height difference is often in the torso. Anatomy lessons. The only books I recommend for anatomy are by Andrew Loomis. His books cover paradigmatic drawing in great detail. I took classes in classical drawing where we studied most of the anatomy covered in Loomis's books. Although lessons are essential, be careful. Studies in anatomy vary considerably. One of the things I noticed right away in my own classes was that our models were female and the anatomy studies were on males. So I corrected this myself with studies on the variability between genders. Females are usually closer to the paradigm in the chest and arms, males in the legs. Most of the variation in males is in the upper body and in females in the hips. Even in bodybuilders, women never develop the upper body seen in men. Some men have specialized in muscle development. One of the better arm models is Bruce Lee, as you can see in this picture. Although women may not develop as many muscles in the upper body, they will develop extraordinary muscles in the legs and rival males in long-distance sports. Studying anatomy is essential for illustration, but be careful about showing too much of what you learn. The essentials are all you need to show in action shots. The mesomorph paradigm. Another holdover from Greek idealism is the ideal of the mesomorph, being the human paradigm. Most cultures observe 3 body types: the ectomorph with little fat and small muscle body, the mesomorph with little fat and large muscle body, and the endomorph with fat and large muscles. In female fashion, the typing is based more on fat distribution, from fat on the breasts and hips to fat only on the hips to no fat, or fat also in the stomach. All 3 body types have been popular at different times and in different situations. and female fashions also tend to cycle as well as be subject to sports selection, such as endomorphs for weightlifting. Anatomy of the head. Skulls vary quite a bit, usually in the brow ridge, the cheekbones, and in the jaw. There are many different ways teachers use to show how to draw the head. Again, some construction methods are better than others. After 40 years of drawing, I settled on the inner triangle method, which I go into in depth on my head drawing video. I like this method because it uses the face itself as its own measurement. The triangle is used to place the features of the face, and then the head is drawn in proportion to those features. Head types vary from thin and tall to round. Usually, thin faces are longer on the side, and round faces have less depth from the side view. A culture of personality has arisen in face types, and the entertainment industry is aware of it. There is a huge range not only in head types and variation of features, but in color and in differences of gender. Chasing shadows. Many illustrators use photo references. The largest problem with working from photos is called chasing shadows. This is a combination of choosing a photo with inadequate lighting and working from that photo without understanding the underlying structure. Lighting is crucial. Old-time photographers knew this. In these photos of these two actresses, you can see what the flash in the face does to the structure of the head. The structural shadows vanish. If you draw from a photo without studying the subject, you will get an inadequate picture. Here I have done this study and gotten a much better picture as a result. And here again with using John Castle as a model. This is obvious in many of the Star Trek books where the artist used a picture of Bill Shatner without knowing his structure. Knowing the individual nuances of his face frees the artist from copying and chasing shadows. The hands. Human anatomy of the hand follows the golden rectangle or the Fibonacci series seen so often in nature. This is a good place to start. The books by Andrew Loomis do a good job of showing the novice how to draw hands. Be careful of other teachers who tend to overwork the hand. This picture is realistic but overworked. This picture is much better. Again, you must know the structure and then place the lines of the shadows correctly. Here I collected several photos for an image of a girl's hands, but the final result is minimal, just showing the shadow lines without overwork. Muscles. American comics are obsessed with muscles, especially what is called the six-packs or the abdominals. Rarely do you see this in photos unless the actor is doing a particular pose. I prefer dancers and swimmers to bodybuilders. In those photos, you can see the amazing development of the muscles of movement without the false-looking posing muscles. The grace and beauty of the human form shows clearly without the awkward extras. Unless you are drawing American superheroes in their rubber armor, avoid the posing muscles and focus on movement. Character anatomy for illustration. Illustration is especially difficult because most writers give brief emotional descriptions of their characters. If you read the books or stories for references, you will know how the characters think or act, but not so much how they look. Artists often give wide interpretations of a character, but as you can see here in Bjorn from Tolkien's book The Hobbit, all of them have given him a low brow and a more brutish face. Working up a character is complex if the character is to be seen in several illustrations. You must know intimately all the positions of the face and the particular traits that show up in it, and the way costume, emotion, and age affects the character. Continuity is a huge factor, for most people look different under different lighting unless they have particular features that stand out. I didn't want to make the manga mistake where I was overly dependent on costume to distinguish characters from one another. I also get bored with drawing the same face, so I love drawing anyone with different features, youth, age, race, noses, eyes, chins. Drawing gives you an appreciation of the vast variety of humans around us. Learning. As I have said, the best anatomy books are by Andrew Loomis. They follow a classic paradigmatic structure that is similar to what I learned in school. There are many websites and videos that show his method, but be careful. Some of them show consistent mistakes. Another set of classical texts is by George Bridgman. His work suffers from being incomplete, like trying to parse someone else's notes. However, the books are worth study. I don't recommend the works by Bern Hogarth, although they are popular. They are interesting, but don't take them to heart. Studying the masters is always useful, especially if their preparatory drawings are available, as in this drawing by Richard III by Edwin Abbey. There is the DC School, which provides a rigorous instruction for those drawing American comics. There is also a Mango School, now with hundreds of websites and videos. The anatomy is easy to understand, but ultimately produces manga or anime. Whatever you study, the only way to learn is to draw. When you draw, the eye learns to see.